All right, it's Fright Night with Ferocious. Yes, I'm sick. But we're gonna go on because we have Silent Cipher and Fuzzy Belvedere here, and we're gonna talk about 3 short films that we watched, our short releases, that we watched, and we're also going to recap what we had just said about this co-pilot trying to get these AI images and stuff like that, because I thought it was interesting. So let's do intros and then let's talk about that. Okay, so let's do Fuzzy first.
Okay. Hey everyone. I pretty much of a week. Well, I guess I'll start off what I've been doing for this past week and stuff. Been playing video games. A little game called Avowed on Xbox and on Game Pass. I suggest you check it out if you if you have a Game Pass subscription, or might be worth at least doing a trial run to test it out and stuff. It's a pretty good RPG. A lot of features and things like that never knew I really needed, as far as like transferring inventory and stuff like that from anywhere in the map, and easy campground upgrades and stuff like that. But other than that, got 3 YouTube short films that we watched, and pretty interesting stuff. But I'm sure we'll get into that. But other than that, just been relaxing. It's you know it we haven't had snow in a while, so that's, I guess, one good or positive thing. But Pakistani Phil said we were supposed to have 6 more weeks, so I don't know if that's going to hold true or not. I think the last time he said something like that, we had a snowstorm as far in as April, but we'll see.
He fibs a lot. Pakistani film fibs a lot. Just trust me.
Yeah.
All right, Cypher.
What are you talking about? Punxsutawney Phil is super accurate all the time. Hey, it's good to be with you guys this week. Gosh, I still have continued not to really play anything else besides Balatro, so I'm still playing that lovely card game. So that's primarily my video gaming for, I feel like, the last, I don't know, couple months. I think I'm probably somewhere in a ridiculous level at this point where I'm probably like, I don't know, 500 hours or something. I probably don't want to actually know. But besides that, I did end up watching the short films for this week, and I did also get to sneak to the theater this last weekend, and I watched The Monkey, so that way I can prepare for next week's show. Looking forward to that conversation as well. And then I've just watched a few other movies just kind of over the week, here and there, whenever I had the opportunity. So it's good. It's good. We're going back into the weekend. It's time to relax, put our feet up, and enjoy some movies and stuff. So yeah, looking forward to being here.
All right. I think we said the 21st of March was when we are going to watch the movie. So you're very early. You must be excited.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm super early, but that's fine. I took notes afterwards. Yeah, I am excited about it. I wanted to get in there like first weekend, and yeah, I'm curious and looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on it.
Yeah, we're in that older, age range where we don't like jumping at the first chance to go to the movie theater anymore. That's how things.
That's fair. That's fair. But so we finished last week's episode, and after we got off of it, I was talking to my friend Melissa outside of things, and we were talking about going to see the movie. And so I actually met up with a couple of my friends, and my daughter went with us as well. And we went to see it on Saturday that week. But one of the reasons why I was so excited to jump onto it was when I looked at seats. Now, this may not be a great thing for the movie. I don't know how it did as far as box office goes, but for our theater at least, it was maybe a third full, and we barely had anyone around us. And it's all of the like recliner fancy seats and stuff now. So you're spaced out enough that you're not wedged in there with a bunch of other assholes, which is ideal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the only reason why I really jumped onto it early. Is I was like, if I can do this now and I don't have like anyone else to contend with, this will be
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, yeah.
Well, as
Nice.
you can see, I'm sick. I get sick at the beginning. I got sick last Saturday night, sitting there eating Dominoes. Never ate the rest of my Dominoes because I started feeling sick. Then Sunday, slept all day. Monday, slept all day. And then I lost my voice Wednesday night. So yeah, I'm doing real good. I get sick the week of graduation. Yeah.
That's
So yeah.
some timing.
Yeah, I know. Always something.
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about these 3 movies. It was Vanilla Cake and Ignore It and The Noise Next Door. But when Fuzzy gave me this image that, I put on YouTube of a mom and a child with a birthday cake, I said to him in the text, I was like, hey, I thought you'd go with something from Ignore It.
Mhm.
And he said, what? What'd you say, Fuzzy?
Oh, it was actually it was my first choice to use that, but it was one of those things where I guess things like scary and creepy or scared and creepy are no words now. So it just I couldn't make it work. Like I tried so many different things. I mean, the picture is basically a young boy and young girl at a dinner table, and there's like this creepy, like almost like what you would expect, like a witch hand, almost like a green crepid type hand reaching out or reaching on the girl's shoulder. And no matter how I phrased it, I couldn't say that the kids were scared because every time I did, it would say, no, that's against policy or TOS. Da, 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 da. And this is with Photoshop's Firefly. Like I probably should have tried it in whatever the one for Microsoft with Copilot, but I was like, if Photoshop is giving me a problem, Copilot would probably be even worse. So the closest I could get was to say the kids were ignoring a creepy old hand. Nope, can't use the word creepy. All right, an old witch hand. Nope, can't use word witch. I guess it's too close to another word or something. So it's like I would get this like instead of it being the 2 kids, then I would have the old lady at the table reaching for something off screen, and then like one of the kids like looking at her hand, but like looking through her hand, and it was just weird. And I'm like, none of this works. It's like, how about if I put if the 2 kids are sitting side by side as the old lady reaches across the table or nope. It made matters worse. It got to the point where it was like 2 old ladies like crossing hands, reaching across the table. And I was like, I'm done with this prompt type of thing. I'll stick with the vanilla cake, birthday, mom and son, and like 50s dress, floral dress, and it was like bang. It was like almost right off the rip. It was as close to what you would expect from the one short film that we watched. But I wasn't even going to try to do the noise next door because too many things like you have to substitute red paint for blood in a lot of cases, and even that you could tell is like weird. So I tried to figure out a few things, and when it just made a lady standing in front of a door, and it nobody would understand. I wouldn't say nobody would understand, but it didn't catch any. It wouldn't catch anybody's attention as much as the one we went with. But it is what it is.
It's funny how some of those things occur when you're using those tools to try and get them to do the AI generated and stuff. I had, like we were talking off the air, but I had one where I was trying to create some sort of dispute between a couple people, and I don't know what I put in the narrative for the picture, but for some reason one of the characters had a arm growing out of their chest, and I was like, I don't know why that person's got a third arm, but whatever, like it is what it is. But I ran into it early on when we were playing around with some of the images for Xbox International or some of the others that we've been doing, I did one where I wanted to have just a family and a bunch of gamers sitting there on a couch playing games together, right?
Mhm.
And the picture looked innocent enough, everything looked fine. But when you drilled into detail and you looked at like their eyes or you looked at their fingers, like it was the movie Substance comes to mind because it was like substance levels of like gross, creepy, funky stuff. Like their eyes looked like the devil's eyes. They were like dark black and were like oddly shaped. The pupils were and stuff.
Mhm.
Then you look at their hands, and there would be weird inconsistencies where they have like a weird random finger sticking out of the side of their hand and stuff. Like it was so weird. I know that like there are better systems that you can use for the AI and doing this
Mhm.
generation, but yeah, there's some very strange things out there that can happen when you start typing these in. It's yeah, and the restrictions, like you said, it's really difficult to get something through their restriction, their rule set to actually get something back that looks decent. Um, God forbid you put anything that has words in it, because if you type something out, it won't take how you spelled it. It'll try and do it itself, and you'll end up with like some insane spelling of a word. I think I put like retirement or something, and it added multiple R's and had like two M's in the middle, and it's like this. I don't know why you didn't just take my spelling, but sure, whatever. It's interesting to see how that works. I'm glad you landed on something pretty good. I think the photo you ended up with worked out really well,
Thank you.
considering. But yeah, I definitely feel the struggle for sure.
Yeah.
I
It's almost
remember
like
when
the I was going to
remember
tell.
Fuzzy when we tried to do the serial killer one
Mhm.
and everything. Every time we tried to do something with a serial killer, it was the victims were always chasing the serial killer.
Yeah.
With
It's
happy
like, hey,
faces on.
That's
serial killer is
amazing.
running after people. Well, actually, you can't even use the word serial killer unless you spell cereal as the thing you eat for breakfast kind of deal. And even then, it's like you can't use killer because that's now a no word. So it's like
Mhm.
you could well, you used to be able to say like deranged maniac chases group of people, and in a lot
Yeah.
of the cases, it would look like the group of people are running behind the serial killers. It's like I don't know. I think the computer has a skewed view on us, with the extra fingers and the soulless eyes. And like, I think the computer is telling us like at some point it's going to cause a nuclear war so we can all be the mutants that it sometimes creates with the extra fingers and arms coming out of the chest and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see how
Yeah.
the future holds.
Yeah. It's nightmare fuel. That's the thing. It's their version of what maybe we should look like as humans, or like AI thinks we would look like as humans. And it is nightmare fuel. It's
Yeah.
scary.
All right, so let's do our first one, which is vanilla cake, and I'll give you a little bit about. So the director was Crystal Pastis, Pastis. And then it looks like the producers were Jessica James Batista and, of course, Crystal Pastis. So this is Alex's 16th birthday, and he's starting to discover that there's something going on with his family. So mom's kind of, dad's missing, and mom is just kind of acting, I wouldn't say technically normal, but she's just kind of like not even really acknowledging that dad is missing or anything. And he just wants to have a nice birthday, I guess. So, what were your first impressions of it? Who wants to go first?
I'll jump in real quick. So initially, out of the three, I think it was probably the one that maybe felt. Uh, I, I don't know. The other ones felt like they were maybe a little more immersing. This one was a little bit more sterile, the way that it was kind of like shot and stuff. But I know that's kind of what they were going for.
Mhm.
Um, it was interesting, the dynamic between the mom and the son. Like right off the bat, you could kind of tell that there was some weird tension there. And they were obviously like didn't seem to be on the best of terms anyways as it was. But yeah, it felt I don't know, like it almost felt, because there was that tension in the air, you could tell that there was some sort of issue going on. Like you could kind of cut the tension with a knife. It felt almost uncomfortable. Like you almost felt like you were sitting at the table with the boy while they're having this conversation, and you feel uncomfortable just even listening to it because their relationship is strained. That's kind of what I pulled from it.
Okay. What about you, Fuzzy?
Sorry about being on mute. No, it had kind of a weird start as far as like trying to figure out uh, what happened to dad, and why the kid is quietly but frustratingly sitting there, and mom being kind of dismissive of dad not being there, and the kid like, oh, put on your party hat, put on, don't play with baseball cards, you know what happened to Babe Ruth, and blah blah blah. So it felt like it was almost in a time warp, like the kid was kind of modern day, and mom was like from like 50s kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out exactly if mom is the psycho killer, or if the kid's going to be the psycho killer. So it definitely interesting start to it, but a weird kind of dynamic between 50s mom and I guess current day son kind of thing, because it didn't look like he was in the same era as far as the clothing he was wearing in comparison to mom. But yeah, I was waiting to see which one snapped first or something. Like if it was going to be no more wire hangers kind of situation, or if it was going to be, meatloaf mom, and kind of find out shortly after. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't feel this was kind of like a, you know, horror that we're kind of used to. It's like more of a psychological kind of thriller, more so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Are you there?
I think she just de-resed. Something
She's,
happened.
yeah, she started talking.
sorry.
Oh, there
You
we
had to
go.
cough or something,
There we
or
go again. For some odd
There
reason,
we
it
go.
went on mute. Weird. So anyway, so I was saying this was more like a kind of like a thriller, not really so much of a horror that we're kind of used to. But if you had missed mom mentioning dad and why that was important, because that was his whole reason why he was raging, right? He was like, I'm missing dad. You're talking bad about dad. It's my birthday. Shouldn't you be nice to me on my birthday? Right? And he's got this baseball card in his hands. And I think some other little touches could have been added to it, uh, you know, with the mom. But I mean it was a good take on, what would happen if a kid decided to snap. I think he takes more after his mom than his dad. I'll tell you that much. This director has been doing shorts mostly. They have done a lot of editing work, so I think the editing work was really good in this one. Um, but how would we rate this one?
hmm. I give it a decent rating because of the twist of plot at the end kind of thing. Visually, audio wise, everything was done really, really well. Um, I say it's a 7.5 or better, just because it was short, concise, a little bit of a weird start kind of thing, but considering it wasn't a wire hanger situation, I guess I can get into the spoiler aspect. The son is the one that snaps, but in the process of snapping, he kind of realized that what mom took away from him, and why she was acting the way she was after he kind of takes her out, kind of thing. But interesting, interesting twisted ending, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I would probably. I think the three that we watched this week. I think this would probably be maybe my least favorite out of them. But even then, like I'd still say it did a good job at. This is the benefit. I know we're going to talk about it more, but this is the benefit of these short films is they don't overstay their welcome, right? Like you've got like 7 to 10 minutes worth in a lot of these films. Um, so it's a very quick thing. They get their points out, they get it across, and then they're gone. And I feel like this did do a good job with that. Like initially, it started off not super engaging. It was a little awkward. Like I said, the relationship between them like felt very uncomfortable. And obviously, there was relationship issues between the mom and dad. But then as it continued on and things start to unfold, um, it sped up. Like I felt like the first couple minutes were a little slow, but then suddenly it was just like 0 to 60 in like 1 second. And you're like, oh, now we're in the shit, and things have gone sideways very quickly. And yeah, they did a really good job at dropping you with something at the end where you're just like, oh crap, okay. I wasn't even realizing where they were going with it initially, but then once they got out to the yard, it's like, oh, okay. Okay, like without spoilers, because I don't know if everyone in the chat ended up watching this one yet, so I don't want to say anything. But I just, things become clear very quick towards the end, and it does a good job at wrapping things up.
Yeah. So I think for me it was a 6 because it was really well done. Sound was great. All the lighting was great. Even at the ends, how you see this dark movie, you could see everything that was going on. That's really tricky to do, and she hit that. The thing is, though, is that the actress in it, which I'll get that for you in 1 second. The actress that did the mom, Julie Mitchell, I think she could have had a little bit sharper anger at certain points to make her character seem a little bit mentally unstable. I think that Colton Wright did a really good job, especially with his gestures and stuff like that, to building up that rage that he had and everything. So I would give this one a 6. But I, will not spoil the ending of any of these because they are short films, and we want to give everybody an opportunity to see them if they haven't seen them yet, especially since they're so short. I think this one was 8 minutes.
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, this one was like
it's real
8
quick.
minutes. Real quick and everything. All right, which one do you guys want to do next? Ignore It or The Noise Next Door? Because these are kind of similar to each other in intensity. Yeah. I wouldn't say in story. I would just say in intensity.
Mm-hmm. I would be good with Ignore It if Fuzzy is.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, so who wants to go first on Ignore It? Let me do a lead up to it. So this one was Sam Evanson, and this one is where a family is struggling to cohabitate with a malevolent spirit, and spirit becomes violent if you acknowledge it. Okay, and there's several, actors and actresses in this one. So who wants to go first?
I guess I can go first on this one. This one had a very different type of startup because it's like a dad talking to his son. It's like everything's gonna be okay. We just gotta go downstairs, ignore her, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wait, because he mentioned like I guess his wife and daughter are down there as well. I'm like, does he ignore one of them or is there somebody else that's in the house or something that they're supposed to ignore? So it feels really weird, and you're hearing like weird noises in the background. So I'm like, I guess there's some sort of like family dispute or something, like an ongoing thing. So you just got to ignore whatever arguments are, I guess, at the dinner table type of deal. But when you get down there, it's like the kid starts asking a question, and they're like, just eat your food, just eat your food. Why is she here? And it's like, it was very creepy and creepy in a good way. Like I try to think of it as almost like the Ring kind of creepiness. Like, something's about to go down that probably they should all get out of there, but I guess they were kind of forced to fight through whatever is going on. But it just very strange, but in a good way that captures your attention, and it's like that tension and like you said, the malevolent spirit being there. Like, I didn't know where this was going to go, but yeah, the film work, the audio, really really well done. But that initial, it was just trying to figure out, well, who and what is this thing after, and it takes an interesting turn. How about you, Cypher? What are your impressions?
So, uh, right off the rip, as they start talking and they're having conversation, like you said, it's definitely a different pacing than like Vanilla Cake, for example.
Mhm.
This was actually the first one of the short films I watched, but I really liked this in the fact that it jumped right out to me immediately that I feel like the person that created this took some nod basically from the urban legend, the 8 feet tall woman. I don't know if you've ever heard of the 8 foot tall woman, but basically it's this urban legend thing about a character named Hachi Shakusama, I think it is.
Mhm.
And it's the same type of idea where like there's this malevolent thing that's there, and all of a sudden like the family has to act quickly on this, and you can't engage if you pay attention, if you do things to let it know you're there or that you're aware of their presence, things happen quickly and in a bad way. I'll see if I can find a link so I can drop it in later
Mhm.
on in case anyone wants to read about it. But it's right off the bat. As soon as I started watching this, I was like, "Oh my god, this took some." It took a little bit of idea from that, and it's cool to see it in a film type of version. Like I always thought this would be like a good premise for like a full story movie or something. And so to see a short story that kind of jumped into this, it was really cool. Very, very intense. The short film was very intense. It felt like it was, it felt like it started and finished in just like a minute or two. I was very engaged
Mhm.
because it just, yeah, they did a really good job at creating that tension, giving you a narrative really fast and getting you engaged with like what's happening to this family and how they're being, you know, basically tortured or like harassed by this evil spirit. So yeah, that's kind of my initial. Yeah.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, the director that did this, Sam Evanson, he actually has done a lot of visual effects stuff. He did
Okay.
he did visual effects in The Huntsman, Winter's War, Thor: Love and Thunder, Spirited, Dune Part 2. He was a digital composer. Along with Spirited, he was a digital composer. So he has a lot of visual effects background. I think that's really what shows in this.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you have the first movie, great audio. That's, the director was really, really great at editing and stuff like that. And we saw that. And in this one, we see a lot of visual stuff, a lot of things that we take for granted in a lot of the movies that we watch. And these particular directors are really trying to emphasize their strengths now. But this one I thought was really, really good, especially since you really don't see the malevolent spirit. You see the hands, you hear her, which is really awesome. But that visual of the guy, when this old woman is starting to get angry because they're giving her attention and she's starting to do this, the things that he used to show her force was not normally what you would see, in this type of haunting type movie. So I thought that was new and fresh. So I actually really like this one. I would give it an 8.5.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm probably right there with you. Probably 8.5 or maybe a 9. It felt really well done. Uh, Again, it felt like it was over so fast. I Since it tied into an idea that I already really liked and is very similar to, again, that urban legend I was talking about. I was excited for it, and I was like, dang it, I wish this was like a full length movie because
Mm.
there could be a lot done with this idea. Um, I could easily see them expanding to something like that and making a full length feature.
And the good thing is that this could have been just a concept piece that he turned around, and he might have not been able to get the budget right now, but he could always revisit later
Yeah.
Right.
when he gets, reviews and stuff. So I think that's why it's also important to review these short films, because sometimes this is how people get their money to produce longer features from their ideas. What about
Yeah.
you, Fuzzy?
I'm thinking this is definitely a solid 8.5 range. Like the camera work, the scene or the atmosphere in which they filmed this, I think was spot on. There's one particular visual effect when the son and daughter are talking to each other towards the end, that was like top notch. Like that's
Yeah.
AAA million hundreds of millions of dollar budget level type of scene. The way that was shot,
Yeah.
um,
It
I
punches way above its weight class.
definitely I think if this is a case, like maybe this is a concept in the works kind of thing, so he can get that pitch for, or do the pitch for, a budget for a bigger film. I hope this gets seeded or gets at least financed in some way, shape, or form, because I think this has the potential to be better than some of the more recent series. Not like your uh, what is that, uh, paranormal type stuff, but it kind of has that type of air to it. Like this could definitely be a box office level film, and just in, I think this thing, I'm looking at the runtime is like 6 minutes and 33 seconds. Like, yeah, this thing definitely has a lot of potential, and I hope they get some sort of financing for this. If the concept is to make this a full length film, I hope to see this, get that. But yeah, it's
I mean,
a great short film.
Yeah, it won the festival award for best supernatural short in 2021 at the Atlanta Horror Film Festival.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
So now we're going on to the last one. The Noise Next Door. This one was the longest one. It was about 13 minutes. Christopher Cox is the one that did this one. So basically, the synopsis is just weeks after settling into his new home, Jay begins to hear an eerie thumping that echoes through the walls and shrouded in mystery and psychological terror. So this one again had a few actors in it. They were really good. So let's move on to first impressions.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Fuzzy.
No, you can go. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, this one when I jumped into it, I was, just like the one just now, the Ignore It. It felt like it uh, definitely punched above its weight class in regards to the film, like the filming and stuff, camera angles, the film work that was done in this was very well done. And they did a really good job, like right off the bat. As you're watching it, you can tell like it feels like it definitely had a higher budget. The feed or the story for this, like as you're watching and you start to get into it, you've seen this type of tale play out before, but it was interesting to see their take on it, and some of the effects and stuff that they went into with this also were really cool. It just initially it just felt very atmospheric, compared to even some of the full length films that we watch. Again, I know I keep saying that, but I feel like this does a really good job at just making its point, coming in there and really saying something in a short period of time and building. I feel like it built a lot of tension and thrill, like right off the bat, very fast, and it didn't require a lot of story or narrative to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, my early impressions were definitely a well made short film. The atmosphere was on point as far as it you, like Cypher said, you could feel the tension, and the build up for this was great up to the end. And I think probably the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway is always do your research before moving somewhere. Just I know that sounds weird. You don't want to have to call like people from Paranormal Activity or something like that to cleanse your apartment or your house or something like that after the fact. Just find out, hey, has anyone like died in one of these apartments, or is there like
Yeah.
a couple that keeps on having the cops called on them, kind of thing? And just I know some of that stuff is public record, some of it's not, but just do your research, and before you fully commit all the furniture, at least spend the night there, like before moving day. Like you get the keys, spend the night there on like a beanbag or a sleeping bag or something, just to listen out for some stuff. But no, it was great start off. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily a great start off. It was like, oh wait, is this going in this direction kind of thing? And yeah, the turnaround was definitely worth the wait and stuff. And with this being a bigger film, they had a lot more story beat to it. Kind of had me second guessing on what was exactly going on, type of thing. But I definitely liked how this started and turned out. So yeah. What about you, Fee?
So I want to say one thing first, like about what Cypher said about the budget. So Ignore It had a budget of $12,000.
Mm.
This one
Shit.
had a budget of $4,600.
Oh wow.
See, that's wild to me. Like that tells you. I mean, we've seen it before, like the underground. Now, granted,
Mm-hmm.
the effects in that were not necessarily the best,
Hmm.
but the filming and some of the angles and stuff that they used felt like it was from someone who was way like really well versed in film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one again, a lot of editor experience.
Mhm.
So this person, Christopher Cox, um, he has done, a lot of shorts before. So you should check out his, shorts and everything. But he also did an episode on royal pains. That was interesting.
Hmm.
He was Riley for one episode. You never know where you're gonna be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was funny. But like I said, he's doing a lot of, writing, directing, but also editing work. And we definitely see the experience in this one. I like this one as well. I like the lead up to it. The little touches because, when the wife comes to the door, he's describing this woman and she does look like the person that was outside Jay's door crying.
Hmm.
She
Yeah.
does have a bruise on her arm. She is
Hmm.
wearing a yellow dress. You
Hmm.
know, it's just those, little details because when we've seen other things before, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that, yeah, Jay isn't really going crazy. It doesn't look like he's going crazy because we see what he sees, and then we see, the live person in the same getup, in the same with the same stuff on as what he saw,
Hmm.
and you can really see how he could be confused in this
Yeah.
whole situation.
Yep.
So I like this one as well. I thought this one was a little higher, um, because of those little touches. So I would give this one a 9. What do you guys think?
I gave it. I'm going to score it similarly. They were both great in different ways between this and Ignore It. Um, as far as those small touches, it had me like kind of second guessing things. Like I was like, oh, is she a twin or something to that effect, or is this a ghost or what's going on kind of deal. Um, but overall, this was definitely a solid 8.5 range for me as well. I would say as far as the order of lightness, I kind of score Ignore It as slightly more favorable, but it's only by like a matter of like a hair, and it's only because of the towards the end leaving the apartment. I think I would have probably bolted out of there a lot sooner, kind of thing, and not thrown. I would have thrown something else, kind of deal, without giving away too much. But this is definitely a worthwhile watch. I mean, all three of these are worthwhile watches, I believe. But this one also another film that it could be. If the idea is to make this into a full feature length film, I would be all for that for this one as well. The first one that we reviewed, Vanilla Cake, I, I don't know if it needs to be a full length feature film, but these other two definitely. These would be, I believe, awesome kind of like horror / thriller films that they could stretch out a bit longer, but definitely great visual effects and stuff. Didn't quite have that scene between like the brother and sister from the previous one on Ignore It, but a lot of cool stuff nonetheless. Like this one definitely gave me Ring vibes to some extent. But what about you, Cipher?
Yeah, I'd probably put it right around like an 8.5 or a 9 as well. Um, that's it feels right for that. Again, you guys mentioned the editing expertise that this person has. It definitely shows, and I'm with you. I thought like I thought it was going in a different direction as we were watching it. You start into it, and I kind of thought that maybe we were going one direction. We were going maybe like a crime thriller type of thing between the relationship with this couple. But then it went to a different direction, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going a whole different direction with this. And I do have to say, like, you know, as you mentioned, there wasn't that exact moment like Ignore It, where you had that moment with the brother and sister. But I do think towards the end, when he's in his apartment and things start happening, they did a really good job at ratcheting up that tension, just like what Ignore It did. Um, and yeah, this is a great test bed for them to kind of throw this out there as a proof of concept and get like a full length film type of thing going. Um, and as Fee was mentioning previously, this is a very good way for someone like this to get out there and get themselves some of that engagement and that attention for possibly building up a deal to make a full length feature. Something like Deadpool had the same type of thing, right? Like they leaked that little scene on the highway where Deadpool's chopping people up. People loved it. People went nuts about it, and then we ended up with a film. So you never know what can happen when a film or like a video like this goes across, and who sees it, right? Like you never know who might catch this and be like, oh man, I could do something with this. Like it could be a new Blumhouse film that we see down the road, because the storyline would work perfectly for a full length feature. It works really good in this short 13-minute format, but it could do really well in a full format also. So yeah, I was impressed. I really enjoyed it.
So I know we could talk all night about all these short films and stuff like that, and so many more. I'm a big fan of Corey. Let me get his last name because I want to say Baker sometimes, but it's Barker, Curry Barker. But as you can tell, when I first came on, my voice is not there. And I think it's a great opportunity that we picked short films, because this way we can bow out early and come back for our longer version next week. So, because then again, the 14th is going to be Monster Mania. And then after that, we're going to do The Monkey. So, on the 21st. So, I think we should do outros because my throat is starting to hurt again. And I do apologize, guys, but I didn't want to cancel either. So I think this is a happy compromise. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And besides, Presto's not here, and I don't want him to feel bad for not being here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We do miss him, right?
Yeah.
We do. It's so much quieter without him. It's weird.
I know. kind of like, yeah. Like I don't have any, I don't have to come up with witty comments to,
I keep
go back
waiting
and
for
forth.
yeah, I keep waiting for him to chime in and be like, Fee, is this a 7 out of 10? I'm waiting for it, but it's just not coming.
Well, this time around, there's some good legit 7 out of 10s or better. Let's just
Absolutely.
say.
Yes.
We'll make him watch them. We'll make him watch them, even though he wasn't here.
We'll give him one that's like a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll give him one of those. We'll trick him into it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do some outros. Fuzzy did intro first, so we'll do Cypher first for outros.
Okie dokie. Well, yeah, it's great to be with you guys again this week. B, hopefully you get feeling better soon. As far as where you can find me this week, you should catch me on Wednesday at Xbox International Podcast at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be hanging out there, hopefully with Plume, Crazy Louie, and Sour Blow Gaming. Besides that, I believe, next week next week I'll have time off on Friday, so I'll be hanging out on Double Barrel Gaming's podcast, Breakfast with Boom, hanging out with Fuzzy, Mr. Boomstick, and possibly Korkenstein, or maybe someone else.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you'll catch me right back here. Next week is Monster Mania. Sorry, you will not catch me on that one, right? Because you guys are doing your thing. Yeah.
No, it's the week after is the
A week
Monster Mania.
after.
Oh, good Lord. I am mixing all my stuff up. Well, in that case, you'll see me next week. Sorry.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. All right. Well, I guess I'll do my outros next. One I gotta say, this was a fun short episode, but these 3 short movies definitely, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't checked them out, definitely give those a watch. They're all on YouTube. The first one that we talked about was Vanilla Cake. It'll be in the description as well. The second one was Ignore It, and then the last one was The Noise Next Door. You're looking at, was that like 25 minutes, I think,
Yeah.
roughly for all 3. So well worth the 25 minutes. You'll barely get through a microwave popcorn watching all 3 kind of thing. So all of them great. I would say my personal favorite was Ignore It. Noise Next Door was up there. And I kind of like the Vanilla Cake, although that one, it was kind of a weirder start, but overall, still great films. Always love doing these podcasts with Fee and Silent Cypher. Always love talking about horror films, although I'm more of the gamer. But yeah, horror films are a nice distraction as well. Given the weird thing going on today. But everybody here, greatly appreciate y'all checking us out. You can find me pretty much on all social media. Just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere, pretty much everywhere but Facebook. And then later on tonight, I'll be on another podcast called Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. So if you're into Xbox or into gaming in general, check it out tonight. And then Sunday, I have dual podcasts with the Shop Podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Pixelated Echoes at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys there as well. And then hopefully we'll be doing Double Barrel Gaming Xbox Lunch Break Special 12 noon on Monday, as well as FSP that at 9 on Monday. And then hope to see you guys back in the chat for next Friday for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. Same time, same channel, different movies, but hope to see you nonetheless. Thanks again.
And so thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for wishing me well. It's always a happy night for Fuzzy when we get out of here before 8 o'clock. Come on, I had to say that. Presto wasn't here. We are missing Presto. But he'll be here, I'm sure, next week. And then again, we won't be here on the 14th. But we will be back after that for The Monkey. Having watched that in the theaters. If you would get a chance to watch that in the theaters before the show, please do so we can have some comments about how you guys felt about it as well. The short films, I'll put the links to it in the descriptions for the YouTube and everything, so that you guys can just click on it and everything, and just watch some shorts. You never know what you're gonna find, especially that you like, and you might find actually somebody that had a full-length movie that you never thought to watch before, and you thought that was great as well. So, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good one. Take care, guys.